Just letting me know about the live. Okay. What is going on? Hi, how you all doing? So I figured today I would do a live. I haven't been able to jump on live at all since I think I've had my YouTube channel. And also I wanted to post videos, but I got sick. So I ended up having hay fever. And um just a heads up, just in case you guys notice, like my voice is crackling, or I might have to take a moment. I don't even know how to pause the live if I need to pause it. I don't even know if that's a feature in here, but I might have to take a moment to take a break or take time to myself, because at the end of the day, I'm not 100% better, but I'm definitely doing better than I was when I originally wanted to film a video. Okay, but I did have some things on my mind. Now, I'm not sure if this is a download or a channel or whatever. Um, I just know that I have some things that were arising as I was reflecting. And I've also noticed this time period has been a lot about reflection. And usually I reflect often, right? But this time I realized I was reflecting on things I've forgotten. I was reflecting on things and people I haven't thought of or thought about in a really long time. And even revisiting my position in the different positions that I hold, for instance, mothering, right? So, Mother's Day just passed, and I went through my old pictures to, um, I think I was going through pictures to post on my Instagram channel or something like that. And I was just kind of reviewing motherhood, right? And I was seeing all these different pictures, and it was taking me back to memories I'd forgotten. And I was also in a position or a stage of reflecting on my identity, on how I view like failure as well. Because I remember I got pregnant with my son fairly young. I didn't get pregnant with my son like super young. I wasn't a teen pregnancy, but it was younger than if I wanted children, I would have hoped to get pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, still really fresh in college, like, not the time to be having kids or whatever. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I I remember being a mom that early. I did have instances where I felt like a failure, but at the same time, I didn't have the luxury to like wallow in my experience, or at least I didn't feel like I did. I didn't feel like I had the right to be sad that everything was hard or everything was new or things happened and things were going on that I wasn't able to predict or um like power through in a way. I just had to hit the ground running and just go as a mother, right? And a lot of things were hitting me at the same time. It was partnership, it was motherhood, it was like my position in school. I was living on my own at the time. And that's when I realized mothering and being a mother is not the same as babysitting kids. Like, duh, right? Of course, it's not the same, but that's the only thing I could really pull from. Like, okay, I know how to change a diaper. I know how to change a diaper, but I don't know that I have to stay up all night every night to, feed this child. And then I had an emergency C-section, so I was dealing with like a wound as well. So having to get up in the middle of the night, having to dress my wound, having to take this medication, and then finding out how the medication, it was just a mess, right? So there were plenty of times where in the moment I felt like a failure. I was like, what the hell am I doing? I didn't even want kids. Like, I don't even know how I ended up in this situation. Like, w- of course I know how I ended. Of course I know how I ended up in this situation, but I just never saw it for myself. So there was a point of time where I had to grieve. I was birthing a new experience, but I also had to grieve this future I thought I had for myself. I had to grieve everything almost, but still holding on to things. I still wanted to finish school and go to, become a pharmacist and do the things that I planned to do. But now I have a baby and now I have to make enough money for me and this child, right? And just flipping through those pictures, it took me through like this road, this path of reflection that I've never been on, and this understanding of myself. Like in this stage of now my son's a teenager, right? So I kind of feel like I have a lot figured out. Of course, I'm not dealing with a baby, but as far as knowing who he is, like I gave birth to a complete stranger. Like, I don't know this person, you know what I mean? And he's just trusting me. He doesn't have a choice but to trust that I'm going to be the best mother for him, right? So, just like being in this position where I don't have a lot of worries, I don't have a lot of issues. And then I remember I had to eventually choose myself and my child over my relationship with the person I had my son with, because he wasn't showing up the way he was supposed to be showing up as an active parent. Like he was kind of there, but not really, and not really helping, but showing up when, he felt like it was important to show up. Does that make any sense? And I also noticed he was taking credit for a lot of the hard work I was doing. Now, mind you, I lived on my own. So we weren't sharing a space with each other. You know what I mean? And even realizing that, I was like, being young, having a child, not having social media in this way, right? Not having a support system to listen to. Usually you have people around and they're telling you, like, oh no, you need to thug it out. You need to keep your family. You don't want to create a broken home. Like people are just giving you statistic type of advice instead of showing up for you in the way that you need it. You know what I mean? So looking at that whole experience, I was like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work out with us. So breaking up with him and moving on, it was almost like, it wasn't even almost. He was using that situation to make life hard as hell for me. And he did not, it seemed as though from my position, he did not care if the child got the brunt of that, of what he was doing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like he was just making things harder than it needed to be. And even in that, I was like, I didn't expect that either. And I had to deal with grieving a family version of life, even though it wasn't really a family the way he was behaving. He wasn't showing up the way, I needed as a partner, but also the type of person that the child needed as well. So just like kind of reliving those experiences and kind of seeing how it unraveled and seeing how everything unfolded, I was like, damn, I really made it through a lot. But even though I made it through all of that, I still felt like at times I was failing, but also I was thinking about how other people were also trying to make me feel like a failure. So not only was I trying to fight through my experience and get used to what I had going on, but also power through and go to school and do all of these things, I also had to fight through other people trying to make like succumb me to this reality that I needed to basically struggle. And I wasn't willing to struggle. You know what I mean? I wasn't willing to live a life I didn't deem worthy for myself and my child, which was interesting because, man, like when I just think about all of the things and all of the people, I realize why a lot of people have to be cut off. I realized why I had to walk a good portion of my journey alone. You know what I mean? And it was so funny because as I navigated that thought process, I realized I was holding on to some of those people though, some of those family members, some of those friends, and I didn't want to let go. But now I see why it was necessary to let those people, that thought process, and all of that stuff go because, people don't just show up as not being helpful. They don't show up as an op. They don't show up as an enemy. All of, you know what I mean? They'll help, They'll show up here and there. They'll seem like they care. Maybe they do care in a moment, whatever. Maybe they're trying to get close to you, whatever the case is. But you just can't see why they need to go. You can't see it. You can't fathom it. But now where I am, I'm like, them people needed to go. So I do have like bullet points on what I want to touch on because I kind of figured with my hay fever and everything that I'm battling right now, I was going to fall off topic. Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hi. Um, but yeah, I think sitting through Mother's Day, and also I was able to sit through Mother's Day and even have this reflection period as well because of my hay fever. Like I was not feeling good at all whatsoever. And even in that, I was like, I really want to post, but for whatever reason, I cannot power through this moment. I can't power through feeling sick, body ache, stuffy nose, headache, like feeling drowsy, coughing, sneezing, itchy eyes, like all of this stuff. So I just had to lay there and kind of just, be in the moment, which also felt like a sense of failure too, because I was like, dang, I have something to do. I have other things to do. And even the other things that I needed to do, I needed to push some things off. It was a lot. But I was just like, no, it's not failure. Just like motherhood wasn't a failure, even though I'm like sitting on Mother's Day not doing anything at all because I can't. I could not. I was like, child, I can't do anything. But man, looking at how motherhood unraveled, I realized I wouldn't be the person I am had I not gone through that experience, which is weird because I wouldn't tell anyone, hey, yeah, go ahead, go have a baby and learn about yourself through life. I wouldn't, I don't think I would wish that on my worst enemy, honestly. But if you're there and you actually do the inner work, you do the healing, you do the reflection, you start to realize, like, wow, I became so resourceful in time periods where I felt I wasn't worthy, or I felt like I need to give up, or I felt like I was failing. Like, how do you keep going when you feel like a failure? That's hard. You know what I mean? So there was another source powering me to get through it and to make it. And a lot of people, they accredit that to their children, but a baby doesn't remember. A baby doesn't know. You know what I mean? But there was just something in me that was saying, hey, you have to keep going. So I have to learn what that inner voice was like saying to me in a sense, like, hey, yeah, things aren't right now. Things aren't going the way you thought they were going to go. Now you have to completely toss a lot of your plans in life and you're going to have to go down a different path, but go through the path, right? Because right now it seems heavy, it seems dark, it seems like nobody's in your corner. It seems like you don't know what the heck you're doing. You're just going with the flow. You don't know how certain things are going to pan out, and you need to know for whatever reason. And just going through that experience and having to thug it out, I realized like it was in failure where I really found truth. It was in not being able to show up prepared for this event or this situation where I realized I can, and I realized that I am stronger. Like you can tell yourself all day you're strong because you overcome circumstances that are easy, right? You may not think it's easy, but you know you can obtain it. Did I know I was going to be able to make it out of the situations I was in when I had this newborn and I was in excruciating pain and it was just so much stuff going on? No, I didn't know. But I found something within myself being under that pressure, being in that moment, and also training myself to think of myself and my life better. Had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have been able to find that self trust I have now. Because once healing and the mindfulness community and staying positive and being in your feminine, everybody acts like you can just dress up in this character and you can just show up there and you're there. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And I can't lie to myself and will myself out of nothing. Like some people are really good at being delusional. I'm not. I'm not good at being delusional. Like I need some proof. I need to see it. I need to understand it. I need to know what the path holds and how I get there, right? So, the whole think positively, that wasn't going to work for me. I needed to know why I needed to think positive in a sense. So when I could see, okay, I'm going to lay my day down like this. I'm going to try to achieve that and we'll go from there. Even having the plan to move forward was enough strength for me to get out of that position of feeling like a failure because to be honest, I was in college and I was working full time and I was full time in college as well, but the job I had was not enough to sustain living alone and taking care of this child. So I literally turned my life around in 3 months. I I was up like thugging it out. Oh God, just thinking about what I was going through was so insane. I had like a lord. It was insane. But thugging it out and getting like a whole nother job and going on these interviews and doing all of these things, the job that I got was so far, and I had to figure out how I was going to get there, and I had to find a daycare, and I had to battle whether I wanted to put my newborn in daycare, but I really had no choice, right? So I had to face how I felt emotionally about a lot of things when it came to motherhood. And even that, like, people don't realize how small decisions can affect a woman and make her feel like a failure in anything, but especially motherhood. Like, if you can help it, you don't really want to put your child in daycare. Okay. Especially if you're going to be gone for more than 8 hours, because it took me 2 hours to get to work and 2 hours to get back home. So I was out like 12 hours and I had to figure out like who I could trust and what it was just insane to deal with and to overcome. And every day felt like a brand new obstacle. And I think back then I was probably also dealing with anxiety. I know I had postpartum depression as well, but I was dealing with anxiety too, not even knowing that I was dealing with it, but being able to put myself in those, like getting, not putting myself in those situations, I had no choice. But being able to overcome those obstacles is what gave me the strength mentally I needed in order to say, okay, this is a big deal. This isn't a big deal. I can get through this. I don't know if I can get through that, but we're going to put that on the back burner and deal with this. I was very much more organized and it kind of trained me. Like it was a life lesson that's been a lesson for a really long time that's trained me up to be where I am because now my son just came back from not New York. Oh my gosh, he just came back from DC, and even then, I kind of felt like this small apprehension to send him after I've already paid for this entire trip. We've already bought clothes. We've already, we knew this trip was coming, but even still, dropping him off at the airport, I was like, I'm letting my son go somewhere without me on a plane with other kids. How's it gonna work? But he just felt so comfortable. And I realized I needed to be his support system in that instead of being worrisome and having anxiety. I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and support him and see how excited he was and how excited his friends were. And some of these kids, I've known them since they were in kindergarten. Like I know these kids, I've watched all these kids grow up and seeing how his teacher was excited. And I was just like, I can handle this. He has a phone. I can see his location. He's going to have fun. And he came back and he had a ball. And I could see a glimmer of, how do you say it? A glimmer of like confidence in him as well, because now he's able to spread his wings in a way I never got the opportunity. I never went on a class trip on a plane with a bunch of kids. Like my mom would have never signed off on that, right? So even in that, like spreading my wings beyond my family system and like breaking in a way generational curses. Like loving your kid, loving someone so much that you suffocate them is kind of crazy. Oh, thank you. Master P, that is so funny. I was thinking immediately of the rapper Master P. Thank you, my love. You have a beautiful day as well. But yeah, just I'm becoming a parent I never had. You know what I mean? And I feel like everybody's always, well, not everybody. There's a lot of people always looking to someone for an example. And I think that's also where the failure feeling came from because I had no one to look to for a blueprint. You know what I mean? Like it was just me. So when I saw my friends also having children after me, and then they would reach out to me and say, "Girl, how do I do this? How do I do that? When your baby does this, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Girl, I am a wreck over here. I, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Girl, I don't know. I don't know." And they're like, "But you're so good at mothering." And I'm like, "What constitutes good as a mother, though?" You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can't believe people are looking to me for advice for something that I don't think I'm doing right. And I don't have anyone to look to. And I can't believe people are looking to me like, girl, don't listen to me. But then I'm right as well. So it also kind of goes into this motherly path, also training me up through life experiences to be somewhat of a teacher for others. But also, I'm learning, or I've learned, but there's so much more to learn. And oh my gosh, like, I'm so grateful for the divine. Oh my gosh. Let me not cry on live, y'all. I'm not going to do that. But I'm so grateful for the divine because, man, the way I feel held through this whole process is just, I don't even have the words to explain the feeling, but being a teacher is also knowing you're a forever student. Okay? You're a forever student because I didn't believe in myself then to even be a source. Even though I was living it, I didn't believe that I was a source of a wealth of knowledge or information until I gave the information when people were asking and it worked out for them. And then I was the source of nurture as well. Even if I didn't have anything to teach or say, people being able to open up and say, listen, I'm so glad that I have you. I'm so glad that I can ask you questions. And I'm like, well, what's going on with your mom and what's going on, with your support system? Are they not able to help? You know what I mean? And they were saying how they made them feel judged. They weren't listening. They were just telling them what to do, like bossing them around like they're a child. And it's just something about giving a birth where you're not a child anymore mentally. Like your body just went through something you can't even fathom for real. And now you're responsible for another person. And people are barking orders at you and they're not having the compassion to at least hear where you're coming from and how you feel about certain situations. So just to be that source of feeling heard, you know what I mean? They look at you because they know you're a good and kind person. Thank you so much, Shelly. You are so sweet, my love. But that, and I also feel as though I'm just patient. Like I'm curious to know. Like I could be kind, but I could be um you can be kind and be shy and unavailable. You know what I mean? But I was kind, but I was also willing to listen. I wanted to hear what they were going through first before I gave any information. And I think those are the people who we do look to for leadership. It's usually the people who don't want to be the leaders, who don't want to have the power, that were like, you need to be the one, like, everyone's voting for you and you need to step forward, right? But not having the confidence, I realized that maybe I was doing not just myself a disservice, but also my community. Because if people are already uncertain and then they believe you have the answers and then you're uncertain, it's like, can I even trust myself at this point? And I feel a lot on this journey is about not just trusting yourself, because that's important, right? But also trusting that you understand your connection to the divine. And why is that important? It's not just to have something to believe in and something to pull you out of harsh moments or hard times, but to also know that even in moments when you feel like you're failing, you still know you're not. You still know that there's a benefit in this path. There's a benefit of where you are, even though it looks crazy. And it's crazy. Like when you think about certain situations and experiences people are going through, it's like, babes, how you get yourself tied up in that? Or I can't believe that happened to you and we need to save you right now. And that's the funny part because like I said, I never wanted to be a parent ever. I never wanted to have kids. And it's not for the reasons that a lot of people don't want to have kids today. Like, I feel like it's a statement of sometimes I hate men, or a statement of I hate women, or I hate relationship, or I hate system, or I'm better than this or that. And for me, I just wanted to be selfish. I didn't want to be responsible for another person. I understood how much responsibility, even though I didn't understand, I understood how much responsibility it takes to be a parent. And then people are popping out like 10 kids. My parents, they had other kids, but at the time that they had me, they just had me. And I have footnotes. I don't agree with a lot of things that they did, And I was like, oh, imagine somebody having footnotes on me. Oh, I can't have that. I need to be living my best life. I need to be successful and just like not have a little person running behind me. But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh my gosh. People sometimes have children because they want to feel love as well, because they feel lonely, and they have kids almost like slaves. Oh, can I say that? Let's take a sip of our tea. Who said that? But I feel like that. I really truly feel that way, that people enslave children to be their servant in some way, which is really unfortunate. And a lot of people can't see how they show up in that light and that energy. And for me, I just wanted to be of service in a way to my child. And of course, it's your responsibility to ensure that um, you bring balance. It's not just about love and it's not just about kindness and comfort. It's also about discipline. That's really important as well. But I ended up finding out my son was exactly what I needed. So here I was in my teenage years, when people would talk about their future and they would say, oh, I want a family and I want this many kids. And they would say, what about you, Ra? What do you want? What are you going to have? And I'm like, why would I even do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not having any kids. So imagine I graduate high school and I'm in college, and my friends from high school find out I had a kid. I remember my son was like one, running around, and I had a visitor. I forgot who it was, but they came over and they were just looking at him in awe, like, girl, I can't believe you had a baby. I was like, me either, child. Every day I wake up, I'm like, wow, I really did that, just to find out that he was exactly what I needed, and not in a way that a lot of people say. I feel like people only think of children as like a source of love, because I've also heard when you have a boy, dang, I can't remember what the girl was, but they say when you have a boy first, that means that you need love in your life, and that's going to be your first love in a way. And I tread lightly around that because a lot of people are really weird when it comes to mother son dynamics. It's like a parentified, it's a weird entanglement, for some people, but that was so true. That was so true for me. And also, I realized I was like, I don't know a lot, but I think I do. So that also helped me form a correlation between the gap when it came to my parents and I, because they felt like they knew everything. And a lot of times they were wrong. And when I wanted to express how I wanted love, they weren't willing to receive that. And I feel like it had a lot to do with feeling like ultimately they were a failure. Because if you're wrong as a parent, it's like, I mean, that's your only job is to be right, but it's not. Your job is to learn. The newer generation is coming in to teach us. It's not us necessarily teaching them. We make them conform to the world that we're in, but they're bringing in the new downloads. They're bringing in the new understanding, the new consciousness, the future. They are literally the future. And when my son came in, even the way we would talk, I realized he's a child, so he doesn't have the vernacular to express to me what he's trying to say. It's up to me to shift and understand him at each point, right? Even now as a teenager, the way he talks, I'm like, child, I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand you. But it's a running joke in the house because he keeps me youthful. He keeps me young. He keeps me understanding what his generation, not just the lingo, but what they care about and where we're headed in a sense as well. But imagine I was so petrified of being a failure that I blocked that off and I didn't allow myself to understand him and have the patience and compassion. And even as I say this, I'm thinking, I'm like reflecting, it's almost like a hologram of when I didn't have patience when he was younger, and I had to learn how to develop patience and understanding versus now where I have so much more. I could use some more, but I have so much more patience and understanding. And recently we went to, I wasn't even going to stay on parenting this long. What is going on, guys? But let's go ahead because I have some other stuff that I do want to tap into. But we were going to Nordstrom to get him his outfit for a ceremony. He did like this ceremony in DC where they laid a wreath, or I think a wreath, and if I'm not mistaken, the flag on like fallen soldiers, because we have veterans in our family. He has veterans on his dad's side, and we have veterans on my side as well. So he was selected by teachers to be a part of the ceremony, and we had to go shopping for his clothes. And he kept saying, "Ma, I want to go down and smell all the cologne." I think they had like a sale going on. And I was like, okay, well, listen, we're going to do what we came here to do first, and then we can go and look at the scents, right? So that also teaches him structure as well, because I have to show it. I realize I've always known this, but it's crazy how it goes. Children, they follow what you do more so than they listen to what you say, right? So if I want him to be structured, I have to show that structure, but also not just showing the structure, explaining the structure, why it matters, right? So I was like, look, I don't want to forget anything. We came here for specific things. Let's get those specific things out of the way first, and then we can enjoy ourselves with everything else, right? So we're going around, we're smelling these different scents, and he's telling me there's a scent that he saw on TikTok that he wants to get, but he doesn't know the name. He doesn't know what the bottle looks like, and he doesn't know who's the scent is by. And I was like, well, we're here. We're here. You just look around and, if you see it, cool. If you don't, cool. This is our time to just be in the moment, I guess. So he's standing around, he's looking around, he's kind of lost, and he looks at me, and I'm just patiently looking at him. And I was like, "You okay?" He was like, "Yeah." And the lady came and helped us, and we ended up getting like the best cologne ever. Now, let me stop. I haven't smelled everything, but it's really, really good. And she gave us a whole bunch of samples. But even in that, I could see myself in the moment and I was like, wow, I really have a lot of patience now because years ago I would have been like, okay, well, if you don't know what it is, we have to go, right? But now where I am, especially as a mother, especially with him as a teenager, I'm more of a safe space. I'm a suggestion. I'm a safety net. You know what I mean? Like, who are you becoming? And I'm interested in seeing who you are more than trying to mold you and force you into this person. I would much rather see where your mind is and then help guide you from there should you need me, right? That girl, child, baby, please. I didn't have time for that when I was younger. I was in school full time. I was working full time. I had to do all of these things. It was rush, rush, go, go. And I just realized I was like, this life is not facilitating what I need to be structurally, emotionally, mentally here like I should. You know what I mean? So that that parenthood, motherhood aspect is just very interesting to think about. But it definitely forced me to become a more well-rounded, balanced person. And I think the beautiful thing about motherhood is it's never the same. So they're always growing, which means you're always learning something, not just about them, but about yourself as well. Because now he's a teenager. He's out right now playing with his friends. It's hot outside. I'm in here with you guys. We're chit chatting. But it's just one of those experiences where I'm like, you know what? Not only is he discovering and becoming, but I'm also discovering and becoming. And it's a new section in my life as well, because pretty soon he won't be at home with me. And he even asked me recently, he was like, when I go off to college, like, what are you going to do, mom? And I was like, sleep. Even though I had no experience having a child, can take a lot of responsibility, yes, but it can also form a loving bond and understanding space. Yes. Yes, it can. But it's just interesting because I mean, even not having kids, we can all experience it, right? It's just this is a deeper experience. Yeah. I feel like people have more sometimes, right? They have more patience for their children, but a child is family. So, can we say that we're going to be able to gather this type of understanding with those difficult family members? And how do we navigate that space? How do we navigate that environment in order to, again, not feel like a failure? Because there's a lot of people who have parents who are domineering and telling them, hey, you need to go to school and you need to become this and you need to do that. And if you don't, you almost feel like they're not going to love you. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how people hijack love in order to get results. I think that's the other thing. It doesn't feel like love at that point. It feels strategic, you know? Let me see what else was I gonna say. Mm, I'm so glad I wrote down my notes. So, saying all of that to say, right? Because failure is like, even now, the state of the world it just feels like a failure sometimes. But failure is something that I feel a lot of people are trying to avoid often. But that's literally where the secret sauce of life is. Because failure is where you really get to know yourself. It really is. Even when, let's say, you're in a relationship, yeah, and everything's going great. You'll feel like a failure if you get into a real bad bad argument or blowout or something like that. And honestly, especially me getting out of a relationship, I can say that's when you see your partner the best. That's when you see yourself the best as well. And that dynamic, the fact that people are trying to have the perfect relationship, the perfect job, the perfect family, like it can't go bad. It can't go into disarray. It can't be unpredictable. It has to be structured. It has to be standard. You avoid really knowing. It's almost like a trap where you can be in a situation where you feel like you know people and everyone's wearing like the biggest false mask. And you'll never know that you're wearing a false mask because you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but really you're avoiding the inevitable. People need to be able to say what they need to say, and people don't always have the know how to say it in a healthy way because how many of us are, right? Even when you go to therapy, therapy is a great navigational tool to be able to bring awareness to what has happened in the past and what's happening now and how to align to where you want to be in the future, right? It's better to talk it out with someone and have them assist you with the knowledge that they have along your journey. At the same time, I feel like the part that people miss is life experience and facing the things we think is failure. We're not going to get it right. And it's not about getting it right. It's not even about achieving the end goal. It's about the journey. What do you pick up on this journey? What do you pick up in yourself? What do you pick up in realization and discernment in other people? What do you recognize what brings life to you? Sometimes when I'm going through pain, that's when I feel the most alive. It's like a reminder, like, girl, you alive, girl. You felt that. Good for you. It's just one of those things where you're like, man, things can be so hard. Even now, like I'm sitting here drinking tea, I'm still chatting with you guys, but I'm still overcoming having hay fever. And even then, I had to rest. I had to rest. I had to take a break, even though I felt bad. I felt horrible. I was like, I can't believe I didn't film it. I should have filmed. It was like the shoulda, woulda, couldas hit me all of a sudden. I should have filmed a video. I should have had a video waiting and loading so I wouldn't have missed the week. And I should have did this and I should have did that. But I didn't and I couldn't. Like, let's just be real. I had a lot of stuff happen. My son randomly got injured out of nowhere. I had to cut my whole day out. I had to pick him up from school and go to the doctor and go to this doctor and go to that. It was crazy. Like, it's not like I'm just sitting around not doing anything. And I had to give myself credit for that, right? But being able to be in that rest, sleep, cough, get it all out. Since I had to end up taking medicine because I was like, I am not raw dogging my life right now. Like I can't do this anymore. I gotta get some medicine to get some things going. But after that rest period, it was yesterday was our first 80-degree day and I don't know how long. And I was able to catch a class and do all of these things. And I was like, oh my gosh, life feels so much more vibrant now that I'm able to get up and get out after feeling down for so long. But let's just say this, how about we go back to last summer? Okay, when life, well, no, not last summer. Last summer, actually, I was dealing with a breakup. So let's go into last fall. Okay, every day was great. Every day was great, but I wasn't excited about every single day the way I was when I was able to get out of the bed and go do what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Like that contrast makes life feel so much more alive, even though I felt like I was failing because I was like, yeah, I want to be consistent, but at the same time, like, I just need the break. Because what if now we went from woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Now we're getting into the what ifs. What if we look at the situation and instead of saying, um, What if everything goes wrong? What if everything goes right? Right? What if I do this thing and something happens and I take off? This was my only chance to rest. And we know how the high season is in our lives. If any of us are lucky, we've experienced it at least once. When everything is going good, when you're busy, when it's go, go, go. And I feel like that's what this new energy feels like. Everything is rush, go, fast. Um, you gotta keep going no matter what. You drop something, leave it. Like, you gotta keep pushing through, right? So imagine this is my time where divine is like, babes, I need you to rest up. Imagine this is the time divine was like, you're doing too much and I'm trying to send you on this path, but you keep forcing this thing this way, but I need you to see it from that way. The only way you can really see things sometimes is just to sit still. You see things better when you're still. So when I was still, I was like, actually, yeah, I need to chill. I need to chill. I can't just be on the move. My mind is constantly on the move. I'm constantly thinking of this. I'm constantly doing that. Like, I need to rest. My mind needs to rest. My body needs to rest. I gotta chill. Because in all of that, I asked myself, even then, I was like, what am I afraid of? What do I think I'm failing at if I don't post this one video this day? And nothing came up. I felt so many different emotions that I didn't have a word for it and I didn't have an answer for it. And I don't think I needed an answer. It just helps me relax and say, actually, you're right. Like, what am I losing by taking a break? Maybe I need a break and I don't know I need a break. And even that within itself means that I need to sit down and I need to reevaluate what were the cues, what was the thing for all of this to transpire to happen this way, right? Because I haven't had allergies in years. I haven't experienced allergies. Excuse me, you guys. That probably sounds horrible on camera. I am so sorry. Yeah, I think it's been like maybe 4 years. I haven't experienced allergies. So for it to come out of the blue, I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? What is that? And I just kind of felt like, maybe this is Divine's way of just sitting me down because Divine knows I love myself enough to sit down. I'm not going to force myself anymore. I used to do that to power through something when I know I need to rest. I need to rest. I need to chill. I need to go to sleep early. I need to drink more water. I need to drink more tea. I need to eat healthy. I need, like let me pour into myself. Let me love myself. Let me remind myself how important my existence is to give my body and my being what it needs. This is what it needs. And I need to listen. And I promise you, the second that I did that, immediate ease, immediate calm, immediate relaxation. I had not slept that good and I don't know how long. And with my son being out of the house as well, I slept so good. Hi, what's up? How you doing, Bookie? I slept so good. And I don't know if it's just me, especially if you guys don't have kids, but when you have children, and I know this is scientifically backed up as well, when you have children, you they say the mother, but really it's the parent who's the most involved with the child. You don't sleep the way you used to. Your brain is like half on, half off. But I know women are like this in general, okay? But when you have a child, you're not completely in deep sleep. The only time I really get really good sleep is when my son is not in the house at all. Because for whatever reason, I'm listening and I don't know what I'm listening for, but I remember there was an instance where he was catching something and I could hear his breathing pattern. And I woke up out of my sleep to go check on him. And I was like, yeah, I think I need to watch him throughout the night. I think I need to keep an eye on him. I need to check his temperature, so on and so forth. But it's just always something. Even my son was telling me what he was doing last night. He was like, I got hungry and I made myself something to eat, and he's very intentional, very respectful. So he was trying to do it quietly, but the second he got up, I was awake. I was asleep, but I was awake. I was completely aware and conscious of what was happening in the house. So I heard him make his food. I heard him wash the dishes. I heard him come upstairs and close my door for me. I heard everything. And I was able to get a few days to myself where I could really just relax, sleep, and get the rest I needed, because I don't know how long this hay fever is going to stick around. And that is another thing. And look at what it birthed. Here I am on live. I've never gone live on YouTube, you guys. So, well, I attempted, it didn't work. I didn't know what I was doing either. Even this live, I was trying to do it like the YouTube forum, and it was not happening, Captain. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I got it. But I was just like, instead of me stressing and trying to sit down and do a video, let me just go live. That way I'll have the video on Sunday. We can all link up. I can see you guys. We can chit chat. You know what I mean? Babes, we're not stressing. We're not stressing, especially when it comes to like, because I know a lot of my audience comes for the femininity aspect. What I'm talking about is femininity. I want to let you guys know, like, the overcoming failure, the overcoming obstacles, the overcoming your certain mindsets, all of that stuff, the result of it is your femininity, because it's more of a security aspect. You become more secure. And the only way you can really, truly, divinely become secure is to be able to trust yourself. If you don't know who you are in certain circumstances, events, or situations, then how can you really trust yourself? You don't know who you are. And I think that helped me operate much better with other people, because now I know who I am. So instead of me looking for traits in other people to say, oh, that person's not good for me, or that person's sneaky, or like, everybody is not, everybody is not everything that you think they are because of what you experience, unless, you're calling that into your aura. But everybody is not that, right? It's not even about what type of person they are. What matters the most is what type of person you are in their company, and do you like the result of who you are in their company? Does their company serve you, or does it deplete you? That's what really matters. And now that I'm older, I'm able to see that. So if you guys see next week, I really don't like giving you all timelines, because you know how I am. If you don't, you're gonna find out I be doing whatever. But next week, there's gonna be a vlog. Okay, next Sunday. Excuse me, you guys. Ooh, not cute at all. Okay. Yeah, I'm going through it. Next week is gonna be a vlog, okay? And in the vlog, you're gonna see I end up going on a side quest with these young ladies. And it was a key. We had a really good time. In that experience, and I'm not gonna dive too deep in it because I have a sit down portion in that vlog where I'm gonna go deeper in this. But I'm 10 years their senior. Now, I also remember being the youngest person in the room. Once upon a time, I was the youngest person in the room. And now I'm either the oldest person in the room, or I'm in the age group of the people in the room, which is hilarious. Now, what I loved about that experience, I love my age, you guys. I'm in my 30s. I thought my 20s, I thought my 20s were lit, and they were lit. Your girl was living a good life, okay? My 30s, I wouldn't give this stage of my life up for the world. I wouldn't. At the same time, I only know my 30s from my 20s in theory, from what I can recollect, right? But being around younger, like the younger group, I can see the difference. I can see the difference in the energy. And it's not bad either. Like, I'm like an auntie almost or a big sister. I egg on the bullshit. Like, girl, if you want to have a good time, I'm clapping. I'm celebrating. You go ahead, but I'm going to sit here. I'm gonna sit here while you all have a good time. Girl, I got you. I'm gonna clap, but I can't get into the things. I can't get into the things. Thank you. Hey, thank you, my love. Sweet. You're so sweet. I'm clapping. I'm clap like you want to twerk, go twerk. I can't twerk with you. I can't do it with you. I'm not judging. You're celebrating. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, that enjoy yourself. But I that's not where I get my entertainment anymore. My entertainment is more spectator. I'm a spectator. You guys enjoy, and I'm just here. I'm here. I'm watching the bags. I'm making sure nobody's putting anything in any drinks. But I'm not on the dance floor. I'm tired. I'm tired. But it's not necessarily about being tired because like we did a lot yesterday. I got up at 8 a.m. and I didn't get home until almost 6 p.m. I was outside. That's not me. I go out to my little class and I come home. I'm not out long, which I love that, right? But we were out for a long time and they they had endless energy. I think the kids are calling it emo. Like they can emo at will. I have to be prompted to emote. Okay. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's like when you play video games and you're choosing the characters' outfits or something like that. They do it a lot in Fortnite. Like you can emote in Fortnite a certain dance or a specific trait of a character or whatever. But it's usually when the character does something funny or they do some sort of movements. Babes, I have my glasses and I'm just sitting there like observing. Thank you, thank you. So they're emoting the whole time, and I'm like, my gosh, I I hope I'm not a killjoy because I can insert when I need to, but I don't feel the need, and I'm not saying that this is what they were doing. At the same time, I don't feel the need to be entertained every second of the occasion. Do you see what I'm saying? I can deal with silence for a long time. And I think that's why I love so much the healing process and the removal of people's influences, places, whatever, not having to be on the phone with people, not having to be entertained and falling into situations or environments I have no business being involved with. I really can grab a book and that is the highlight of my day. Like I babes, I don't even need to turn on the TV. Okay. I don't even have a TV in my room. I have a projector, but half the time I don't even turn on the projector. Like, come on, guys. You should do things for yourself, not just for others. It's not just people who can make you feel loved. You can't do exactly. I love that. I agree 100%. But I'm in the energy where I don't have to entertain. I can just watch other people entertain themselves or each other, and I kind of remember that in my 20s. We had the music blasting, like everything needed to be filled, the air, the space, the sound, everything needed to have something happening at all times. And now in my 30s, I don't need that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with sitting and observing the trees, observing whatever. And then, when it's time to speak, you speak. But I also feel like that was in combating people pleasing as well. Because when you people please, And again, I'm not diagnosing these young ladies. I don't know what they have going on, so it's not in relation to them. I just can draw from experience that being in people pleaser energy before I even knew I was a people pleaser, I needed to always make sure that the vibes were high. I needed to make sure that everything was good, everybody was having a good time, we're vibing, we're have everything needed to have something in order for it to be good. Every moment, every second needed to be full of some sort of activity. But now existing is enough for me. There's a time and a place, but I don't need to be on 1,000 and talking and singing and dancing and quoting movies, and I don't need to do all of that all day long. And even when we were done eating, one of the young ladies still wanted to go out and do something else, and I was like, well, this is where I leave you young ladies. I have to go home. I need to go to sleep. I need to lay down. And I think that's exactly what I did. When I got home, I freshened up, laid down, and I don't remember anything else except for waking up at 6 o'clock this morning and going for my morning walk. Like, babes, that is life. And even experiencing them, like they're still in, I feel like people my age are still doing this too, but I made a conscious decision to not haze my body, if that makes any sense. I don't need to socially drink. Now, this is where a lot of people kind of turn this into almost a snootish ego type of um I'm full of wellness mindset, if that makes any sense. I'm not going there because other people can still enjoy themselves if that's what they want to do. I support people in whatever stage they're in because they need to walk their journey to figure it out, right? But I don't need to drink. I don't need to smoke. I don't need all of these brain inhibitors in order to have a good time. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it in a conscious effort to pour into my body because the body is not something that we shouldn't get so caught up in my belief in spirituality and soul this and like all of this spiritual or religious talk, we need to also realize our body is a very important aspect of this journey too, right? So when they were ordering drinks, I was like, I'm gonna have a mocktail. What mocktails do you all have? What do you offer in mocktails? And when I tell you my mocktail was so good, and they were like, oh, I really need to stop drinking too. And I was like, you will in due time, whenever you're ready. But I just believe in pouring into myself differently. You know what I mean? Where socially the environment may be supporting this lifestyle, I'm okay with saying, I'm not interested in being a part of that, but I will partake in my own way because I want to pour into my cup. I don't want to poke holes in it. You know what I mean? Especially since we just did a yoga practice that morning. I didn't want to put alcohol in my body and put weight on my liver or my kidneys or my energy or whatever. You know what I mean? I was just like, and it made them think like, oh, I need to do that. And I was like, you guys, you have time to naturally come to that doorstep on your own. Don't let me make you feel like you need to change what you have going on. And that kind of ties back into failure. It's like shame almost that can lead you into failure. Like, oh, I know it's bad for me, so I need to force myself to change it now. And it's more of an essence of you walk the journey and then you understand why you should change, not guilt yourself or use fear to force yourself to change. And hopefully, You're able to make that change, excuse me, you guys, before there's an outcome that's too bad to turn around. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to get to the point where it's so bad that you're like, oh my gosh, I have to change it right now, this second. It's like, you don't have to right now, but you also, if you're going to make the change, you want it to be solidified. You don't want to make the change and then go back to the thing. It's almost like being in an abusive relationship. You don't, well, I know you kind of want to leave, but you want to leave when you know you're never going to go back. You want to leave when you discover that in not leaving, it's a representation that you don't love yourself as deeply as you should. You want to have that realization, I love myself too much to stay in this experience and slowly wither away. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to get to the point where you fully understand in your embodied wisdom, this does not serve me, and I don't ever want to come back to this place again. Let me see what you're saying. I need to leave that. Okay, bye. Thank you for showing up. But just so you know, since I have some problems, I try to talk to people like you to let you know someone understands and cares. Oh, thank you so much, sweet. You are so thoughtful. Thank you. I appreciate you. Hopefully, this helped. So, that, experiencing that with him, I was like, been there, done that. You know what I mean? Been there, done that. Getting the inkling, getting a sign like, oh, I should change my life, but I'm not fully ready yet. But guilting myself into believing that I have to be ready. And it's like you're gonna come to a time where you're gonna say, you know what, this doesn't serve me anymore, and I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I need to change my life, and I don't know how I'm gonna change it, how I'm gonna go about it, but I know something needs to happen. And sometimes people force themselves to stay in that, in that space, and that's where you see people become really miserable. And even in misery, I feel like we beat people up who are miserable as well. And you got to kind of think, why are you forcing yourself to be in an area or an energy that doesn't serve you? You know what I mean? Let them be whoever they want to be out of your company. I feel like when Mel, what's her name, guys? Is it Mel Robinson or something like that? I don't know who she is or what she does for real, but I've seen her before, and she has this saying, let them. And people are like talking crap about this let them theory that she has. Like, let people be a-holes. Let people do whatever messed up thing that they want to do. And people are like, how dare you say that? But when that message got to me, I was in a space where I was like, oh yeah, I totally agree. Let them. And I'm just starting in the middle too. So sorry. Oh no, that's okay. You're in middle school. Um, and I was like, yeah, let them. You don't need to change anyone. You don't need to force anyone to understand you. You don't need to force anyone to be good. You move on. And I feel like that's where I am in my life now. I have no desire to force people to do anything they don't want to do. They're not going to treat me any type of way because I know that I'm going to leave. I'm going to let them and leave. I'm not going to let them and stay and be miserable and allow them to treat me any type of way and do all of these things to me. That's not going to happen. I'm going to let you and I'm going to leave. You know what I mean? And that's when I realized in teaching, in mentoring, in doing all of the things that I do, everyone isn't my student. Everyone isn't my student. I had to learn that through this journey, little by little, because once I figured out how not to be miserable, once I figured out how to experience my life at this corporate job that I used to hate, but I was able to manifest. I was able to see the beauty in everything. I was able to finally get ahead of myself and say, I'm going to create the existence I want to live. I'm not going to let life happen to me. I'm going to shift it and steer it as I see fit. So once I learned that, I would get so excited and I want to share with people. Oh, I got to tell everybody about this. I got to tell people, you got to do this and this is what you got to do. And have you seen this video? And people were not listening. And I remember there were some points in times where people wouldn't listen, and then they would still come to me and complain, and I'm like, babe, you're cramping my style. Like, I would get so irritated. They're not using my advice. They're not following the footsteps I'm leading them through. Like, babes, I'm literally holding your hand. Like, listen to me. And I realized over time, slowly but surely, you're excited about it because you get it, but they can't see it yet. And not only can they not see it yet, they're going to try to talk you out of your position. They're going to poke holes in your realizations. And it's not necessarily that they're a bad person, they just don't understand where you are. They can't see it, they can't fathom it, they don't understand it because it doesn't exist in their world. And it's not about you forcing it down their throat, it's about you showing up in the energy that you're in, existing the way you naturally, authentically exist, and allowing them to take that information of what they see and do as they please with it. They can either be inspired by it or they can envy it or they can be jealous or whatever, however they decide to take this experience, that's completely up to them. Divine led you here. It's not, everybody is not your pupil. You know what I mean? And I also have to realize in doing that and extending myself in that way, not only is it people pleaser energy, but it was also draining my energy. I was drained. I was like, ugh. And then that's where I was being frustrated because I realized these people aren't listening. I laid down all this information and this backup information and I've done all this research and they're not listening. And that was turning me into what? Like some egotistical freak at the end of the day because I'm so frustrated. I'm no longer in that higher vibration of being at ease and flow and at peace. And it wasn't reflecting as divine femininity. It was reflecting as control. It was reflecting possibly as manipulation because why are you forcing me to do you like I didn't ask you for that. I didn't ask you for help. And even when people ask for help, I have to know whether they're able to receive it or not. That's up to me as, I guess you could say, as a potential teacher or mentor to be able to decipher will this person be able to pick up what I'm dropping because you don't want to get resentful, especially if the divine is giving you the information to give to other people. You don't want to be in a space where you're frustrated or you're trying to escape it. A lot of people use escapism as the high road and it's you, like babes, the only person you're fooling is yourself. Okay, that's escapism. You're not able to hold space when someone is not like-minded or they don't have the same thought process you do. And it's okay for people to think differently. It's okay for people to want different things. It's just up to you to know these just aren't my people, right? I need to move on. This is not the place for me. And I feel like a lot of people don't know how to move on unless there's conflict as well. People don't know how to move on unless there's conflict, and some people don't know how to assess whether a person can deal with moving on with any type of verbal communication. Some people will still turn verbal communication into something it's not, right? So to be able to know all of that information, you literally have to know yourself. So when Mel was like, let them, I was like, yeah, let them. And then I see people like disagreeing and making think pieces, and people are like, it's baloney. And it's like, yeah, for you, it's baloney for you because you don't understand. It sounds like toxic positivity to you because you're not there. You don't understand why someone would say let them, because it's not your business to try to control someone else. How many times have we tried to force someone to do something that they didn't want to do, or understand something they didn't want to understand, and they actually went along with it without a fight? It's easier to allow people to feel heard, to feel seen, and then allow them to want the help more so than trying to force it down their throats. One place that I've seen this a lot is Christians. The second that they hear you're not a Christian, they're like trying to convert you instantly. And it's like, I didn't ask for your help. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, eh. But when I'm around Muslims, if they find out you're not Muslim, they're not trying to convert you unless you're asking. Well, at least the ones that I've experienced. Unless you ask, unless you have some sort of curiosity about the religion and you express you want to be a part of it, then they welcome you with open arms. Babes, I'm not a fish for you to catch. Oh, the irony. The irony in that. Mm. So it's like you kind of got to let people find their way to you or to the message or to whatever. And I had to realize being excited about something, it didn't need to be shared. It did not need to be shared. Everyone doesn't need to be a part of this awakening. And I guess that's like a testament to a person's heart as well, to want them to be a part of something that they truly believe in, something that changed their life. You know what I mean? You get excited and you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to bring this person in. But do you? Are you sure about that? Because imagine you're bringing the wolf right into your house. You know what I mean? You also have to have discernment about that as well. Who you bring into a friend group, who you bring into your family, who you bring into a work situation. It heavily it heavily represents you. You are the face of this connection, right? And I think that people move so fast that they don't do, and I feel like this is an attachment style issue as well. They move so fast in trying to gain connection that they don't do homework on people. Hey, what's going on? So that's the other thing. Child, I had so much to learn in life by just by living experiences. I just realized, you know what? I don't need to teach everybody everything. I don't need to share every breakthrough with everybody. Everybody's not going to get it. And that's okay that everybody doesn't get it. Let them not get it. I don't need to convert anybody else. I would much rather spend my time pouring all of that energy into myself. And in that, I realize I'm not apprehensive in sharing, but I observe a lot more. I watch a lot more. I'm more in tune with understanding. I don't know if I'm aligned with this person, and I don't know if they're aligned with the message. So let me take a step back and let me just see exactly what's going on first. And then I can start to see if they align with who I am and who I'm becoming. A lot of times we think, I'm in this position, I'm in a good spot right now. This person works for me. But do they work for you 10 years from now? Especially women, like we change so much. Even though I've seen some women, they are the same child. That same person that I was talking to 20 years ago, same person today. You know what I mean? But I feel like as you navigate life from your earlier years, before you get cemented in what's comfortable, you start to realize you change a lot. That happened to me in my last relationship as well. I changed, so it wasn't only, think the tension wasn't necessarily coming from particular issues, even though that's what it seemed like was happening. That's what seemed was happening. Guys, I can barely breathe. Bear with me, okay? I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. I hope that does not sound nasty. I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on. Mm. Let me drink some tea. Ciao. Woo! Allergies, right? Anyways, even though it seemed as though the issues were like certain situations, I feel like the biggest underlining issue was the fact that I was changing and the person I was with was not able to come to terms with that. We were drifting apart, we were growing apart, and it was all happening under the surface. It was happening subtly, right? It was subconscious. But things I liked before, I didn't like anymore. Things I tolerated before, I couldn't tolerate anymore. I was shifting, but I was the only person shifting. Hey Aria, hey girl. And that ended up being, oh, I was trying to see if I have a rubber band here. I don't. I don't have a rubber band, but that ended up being the tension. And that's when the rubber band is like extending, 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 and one person let go and it pops, right? So it was that type of situation where now I need to not only realize I'm the one changing, it's not necessarily anyone is at fault at anything. Like, and that kind of goes into the failure aspect as well, because it's not about failing, it's not about fault, it's about, is this person aligned to me? And are they going to be aligned to me in the future? Where am I headed? Maybe you don't know where you're headed. But at the same time, you may not know where you're headed, but you know the genuine, like the general direction. Is this person on that path with me? Are they following me down that path? Or are they causing resistance? Right? And that goes back into the let them aspect. If they don't want to change and they don't want to shift, I'm not going to force them to change. I'm not going to force them to shift. I'm not going to talk sense into them. They, if it's meant for us to be aligned, they should have already wanted, they should have had that inkling or that characteristic to already want to shift, to already be okay with being uncomfortable and change. You can't birth that in someone. It has to already be present within them. So, even in that, a lot of people probably, oh, this is deep. Hold on, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not skipping ahead because I wrote down bullet points. A lot of people a lot of people think ending relationships is failure. A lot of people think that. Even if they're trying to be progressive and they're saying they don't believe it, they do believe that. Because a lot of people will be in a long term relationship or engaged right before it's time to get married. And because they want to be married so bad, because they want that title for whatever reason, whatever it means to them, they will go through the process of solidifying a broken situation. Nothing, the only thing a baby in marriage is going to do is solidify where you are. It's not going to fix, heal, jump, hop, skip into a better reality. It's not. It's very rare. I don't think I've ever heard of a situation where it did. Ever. Okay. Either the person has the knack to be able to handle responsibility and pressure at the same time, or they don't. And even me sometimes, like when I'm fine with pressure, I'm fine with all of this stuff. I'm not okay when I'm on my cycle. When I'm in my luteal phase, I'm not a nice person. And I know that. And I know I need to heal that so that I can align to something better. So that's where I have to do my work, right? I'm not, just because 25 days out of the month I'm great doesn't mean that I'm a great person or a great, prospect to be in a relationship. Just because a person doesn't trigger you doesn't mean that you're a great person. You know what I mean? That just means that one, either no one's showing their true colors because they're trying to play it safe and they're trying to avoid what other people think is failure, which is conflict or arguments or whatever. Or they're literally like they could be avoidant and avoiding situations, or they could just be a really kind person and just let you walk all over them, right? And you there's no conflict because of that, and they just let you be crazy, and there's no true self-love there or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you really want to align to something better, you have to look at where you lack so that you can actually become better. So, me knowing about my luteal phase, that's something that's chemical, right? As far as I know, I can't fix that just by deciding to fix it. I have to say, okay, I'm gonna set a doctor's appointment and I'm gonna get blood work done and I'm gonna I need to do the actionary steps in order to figure out what's going on so that I can wholly be and show up as this person. Even now I have allergies, right? But my energy is still good. But babes, if I was in my luteal phase, if I was in my luteal phase right now, this would not be the case. Like I would I wouldn't even be on live. I wouldn't be here. I would be like, you know what? Let me spare the public and let me just rest because, let me pull back. Let me, just pull back just a little bit, just a little bit. And even that's not healthy because there's going to be times where I still need to show up. So being authentic and knowing even that about myself, that can pose an issue. And yeah, I would want a partner who can deal with highs and lows. At the same time, if I love myself, I would want the person I'm with to love themselves as well. And I don't think that they should have to deal with that. I think that we would probably have bigger fish to fry where we should come together in other obstacles and be able to overcome those obstacles together. I don't want to be the obstacle. You know what I mean? So even when we're dealing with people, and I've touched on this in another conversation, you're so used to dealing with the problem, but one day you may be the one that's the problem in a relationship. And gosh, nobody wants to be the problem in a relationship. So sometimes at the end of the day, the relationship has to end because you just want better for yourself. You want better for yourself, you want better for your future, and you just understand people are kind of in the way. They're in the way of you becoming who you need to be. And in order to become that person, you have to have enough self-love to realize like, hey, I think I need to step away from this. So on the outside, people can look at your life and feel like it's a failure, but it can't feel like a failure to you. You have to know that you're making the right decision for you. You're making the right decision in love. You're making the right decision in knowing self to be able to go on your path as you should. Because I can't imagine marrying the wrong person for me. And then having that knowing in the back of my head that I peeped something. I understood there was something off. I understood I don't think this is something that I want to do. And it's not just because I'm scared, it's because there's a misalignment and I felt the misalignment. But here I am still going through with the process because I want to be able to say I'm a wife, or I want to be able to be married to, I don't know, my kid's father. That it, don't I hope nobody ever cuts that. I'm not saying that that's what it's not what I want. Okay, it's not what I ever wanted. But just say like to preserve the family for some. I want to marry this person so that we can build this life. And this, no, 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 no. I'm never, ever, ever going to do something just so that I can keep up with the Joneses and keep up a false pretense of who I am. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave. But the trick is to leave whole. You know what I mean? And even I admit, I didn't crash out. I didn't crash out, but I definitely had experiences with the last relationship where I was pissed, especially finding out information. I was like, "Oh, I know you lying." But I'm proud of myself because I didn't handle that situation like I would have 15 years ago. I'm a completely different person than I was back then. And that is my reward. My reward is to be able to say, life is blissful now. And it's blissful because I didn't ruminate too long on a situation I didn't need to ruminate on. Like, it's just understood. And I think it's because of my journey of gathering the wisdom and the understanding of myself that I understand that I'm just going to be better and I'm going to do better and I'm going to pick better because I'm better. You know what I mean? It's, you can't fool me twice. You know, if I grew out of a situation, I'm not going to fall into another one or a worse one because I'm lonely or because I don't have, um, I need to constantly be entertained. Like I said before, with those young ladies, I'm 10 years their senior. I don't need activities or entertainment every second of the day because I'm out with my girls. Like, I'm very much in peaceful energy, very much in peaceful energy. I don't need to emote every 2 seconds. It feels like it feels performative to me. But thank God I'm not in a position where I don't think it's performative. I know that energy is from being in your 20s. When you're in your 20s, you just have a crazy unlimited supply of energy. And when you're in your 30s, you start to preserve your energy. So yesterday when I was out longer than I intended to be, it was a key, it was cute, but I understood I was running on reserves. So no, I'm not about to drink. No, I'm not about to go out to the club tonight. No, I'm not about to do a whole bunch of things I don't want to do. I'm ready to go home and get in the bed. And I'm going to honor that. And I don't need to perform in order to make myself seem like I'm not old. I'm getting old. And I love it. Like, I love that process of aging. Maybe because I age well. I think I age well because I'm happy. So I'm not embarrassed. I'm like, girl, y'all have a good time. I'm a spectator. I'm a clap from the sidelines, but I'm not about to twerk. I'm not dancing on the dance floor. I'm not, yelling and screaming and cackling in the streets. I keep it cute because I'm on reserves. I'm not on borrowed time. I'm not there yet, but I do feel like you pour so much into yourself. By the time you get to 30 and you're actually doing the work, you realize not to leak. And all of that, to me, where I am right now, that would be me leaking. That would be me people pleasing. Am I able to keep up the energy or am I being a Debbie Downer? I wasn't even worried about none of that. I was like, they are friends, they are in their element, and I'm gonna smile and let them be in their element, but I don't have to be in that energy because I don't. Like, well, I love me in my 30s, child. But anyways, anywho's, let me make sure I touched on everything. Oh yeah. Oh, look at me. I am on point, you guys. Oh, I am right on point. I lost the appetite to over explain myself. I lost the appetite to overperform. I lost the appetite to care. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that's where I am. I know what's good for me and I support what's good for me. I don't want to overextend myself. I don't want to overpour myself. I'm just very good at sitting down and observing and understanding what the vibe is, what the energy is, and getting to know people. I said it in the beginning of this live. I'm going to say it again. I'm not worried about what type of person somebody else is. I'm more so sitting in my energy and I'm saying, my son is gonna walk in. How was it? No. Really? You walked far. I'm gonna have to put you on a leash.
Chip?
Did you get any snacks?
No, I was just walking past places.
Oh, okay, okay. Your friend showed up?
No.
Oh, it was just you?
Yeah.
Okay, period. Look at you.
I see.
See you. Look at me rubbing off on him. Anywho. Oh my gosh, I forgot. What was I saying, y'all? What was I saying? I was saying something about what I said in the beginning. Um, but yeah, I just don't care about being misunderstood. I don't care about any of that stuff. And I just understand that, I'm just who I am. Oh, that's what I was saying. I know who I am. So I'm not worried about who anybody else is. And I just understand if a person is good for me and good in my world, I will like who I become with them in my world. If I don't like who I am when they're in my life, then they cannot be in it. So if a person is making me insecure, and it's really interesting because if a person is making me insecure or making me behave in insecure ways, and I'm not an insecure person by nature, that's really not a good person for me. Do you understand? If a person, like, I'm more of a warrior spirit, so it doesn't, well, it does take a lot to get me out of my element nowadays because, like I said, I'm so peculiar about pouring my energy out, right? But I will say it would be easier to get me pissed off than it is to get me insecure. I'm not I'm not insecure. I am how do you say? Como se dice? Um I am not protective. How do you say it? I'm oh my gosh. I'm not even fluent in other languages for real. And I can think about other languages, but I can't think about this one word. Possessive. I can be possessive, but even in that, I haven't been possessive like that in a long time. Even now, like I respect people's autonomy. You know what I mean? I'm not even possessive like I used to be. But insecure is definitely not on the list. So if I'm feeling that, if I'm feeling traits of that where I gotta watch you or I gotta do this or I gotta do that because you're giving me reason to, that energy can be poured somewhere else. And because I know that about myself, because I know that that attention is energy, I would much rather that person not be in my world. If a person does not handle themselves with a certain type of decorum and I'm out and about with them somewhere and maybe they're insecure and now I feel like I need to uh step on eggshells or assist them in feeling secure with him, that is also pulling out of me and overextending me and I don't like that. So it's not necessarily about other people and hating them or being triggered by how they behave. It's more so I don't like who I have to be in order to navigate this space with you. And I had to learn who I was first before I could even make those conscious decisions. So that's like a 180 almost for me because I used to like really, really be on top of people's personality. Like, they did this. They said that. I don't like how they handled that situation. They're throwing shade. Now it's just if I'm not myself, if I find within me I have to change or shift in a manner I don't agree with that's not conducive to who I'm becoming, that person is not going to be in my world again. They're not going to be invited to be around me. And it's so funny because I'm actually dating, not dating in relationship, but I think I'm more so like dating and friendships. I'm trying to figure out, okay, who should be in my world and what part in my world should they play? Like, where do they belong? Is this a business opportunity? Is this a business relationship? Is this a friendly relationship? Is this a bestie relationship? What's happening? What's taking place. And I love that energy for me because it also helps me realize I'm open. I'm no longer in hermit energy in that way. I'm experiencing life in another way where I'm being able to really take a look at if I want to build another community in person, who fits? You know what I mean? And I also want to make the conscious decision to be able to choose people who can be around the other people that I choose in my life as well. You, because that makes sense, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, I already touched on that. Oh, I actually touched on everything on here. Did you guys have any questions for me? I'm so proud of myself. Oh my gosh, we've been on here for 100 minutes. Unedited, y'all. I just mean, hmm, baby, you put me in front of something and give me a topic to talk about, I'll be talking. Okay, I know how to yap. But anywho's, I will say I've realized that failure is success. Who said that? Who said that? I did. Hmm. Failure is actually where success lies. And a lot of times we're looking at other people and their success journey, what they do to be successful. But it's not about that. It's about the core. Where does the momentum start? What was bred? Where did it start and how did it breed into itself? Because I can say if you break up with somebody, this is what you need to do in order to be successful. I actually wrote an ebook on that. But instead of just saying what I did, I gave the reason behind why it worked. Do you see what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to like dealing with my son's father, I realized in order to have a healthy, hmm, I can't even say that, y'all. In order to have a healthy child, I had to learn how to navigate the experience with his father. I had to figure out because I can't change him. I'm not going to change him and I'm not going to control him, even though he's trying to control me and he's trying to make my life a living hell. That's not going to work because I figured myself out, right? And I know that situation does not serve me. And as much as people hate to hear it, whoever the child lives with, that person needs to be happy. So if you're intentionally trying to make the mother of your child unhappy and that's who the child lives with, you are inevitably destroying that child. Because if the person who the child is being raised by is an unhappy person, misery loves company, right? It's going to seep into your child. And if you really care about your child, you should be able to put whatever your grievances are with the other parent on the back burner. It's not about destroying them. It's not about trying to expose them. It's not about any of that. It's about how do I navigate this space being a healthy parent and assisting and raising a healthy person who is then in turn going to be a part of society who's going to and you know a lot of people talk about girls, but when I think about being a mother and I'm raising a son, I always think about how is he going to treat women. That matters so much to me. And it also matters to me because by golly gee, I have met some crazy women who do things I can't even fathom. I wouldn't even fathom doing half the things that a lot of people I've experienced or they've come into my experience or I've met them in passing. I can't imagine doing what they've done to men, to other women, to whomever. So I also have to think about protecting him as well, but also him being a representation of me. Like I didn't just raise you, I birthed you. You know what I mean? So knowing all of that, I have to think boys women too, but I've noticed boys in a more particular way, they tend to follow guidance. They tend to watch things and see how people handle things, and then they emulate that. Me, I'm a very strong-headed person. I came into this world my own person. I was never ever it's taking me so much time, especially now that I'm mentoring people, like, it's taking me time to realize people really pour a lot of their being and who they are into how they're received by others, and they need guidance from others. They need someone to look up to. They need someone to follow. They need someone as inspiration. And at some point, I felt like I needed that as well. But when I looked around and I never saw the inspiration I needed, I stopped looking, you know. But I always had a headstrong personality. I've always been the type of person that's just like, I'm gonna do it my way anyway. Even if it's looks crazy, YOLO. I'm gonna go down that path just to see, just to get the information, just to do the research. I'm gonna date this person just to get the research, just to understand, just to figure it out. And I feel like that is the main reason why I have such a wealth of knowledge, for the simple fact I was never scared to experience life. So now that I'm older and I'm looking at everything and I'm like, wow, not only did I have a child, but I had a person who was committed to destroying me after, and I still made it out. And I was still like, I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be at peace and I'd be relaxed and I'd be able to say, you know what, I'm handling things the way I need to handle things. I'm handling them in the way where I won't be bitten, later, like bitten in the butt. But I'm also proud of the fact that my son is able to blossom and bloom into a person I can say I'm proud of. And kids don't show you who they are, but you can kind of gauge and tell what type of kids you have. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's developing into a pretty decent young man. I'm happy with myself. A little rough around the edges in some places, but overall, I'm glad the decisions I made, and and having to take the time to learn how to be able to control myself and control my anger and control my sadness and control the overwhelming aspect of like anxiety and stress, and navigating this space where understanding that I don't control anyone else. I can't control anybody else. And this is the other thing, and this is really powerful. For someone to try to destroy you, you gotta be something. You gotta be something. And when I thought about that, I was like, I'm not going to keep going back and forth with people who are nothing to me. I'm not. I need to be able to move on, because my energy is that much more valuable being put right back into me rather than being expanded on the outside of me, poured into a person who's trying to destroy other people. You're trying to intentionally destroy other people, and I'm over here trying to uplift other people. Like that, we're not the same. We're not the same, and you don't deserve my energy or my attention, which is energy, guys, right? So, just understanding that aspect of all of it, I was like, it's one thing to understand it in its complete form. It's another thing to go through the process and learn how to do it for yourself. Because there was a time no one could tell me anything, and I was reacting and I was texting back and I was hitting back when you send something to me, I'm sending something to you. And it's like, no, 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 not anymore. You can't get that rise out of me. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that I also know I'm in a space where, guess what? I haven't experienced everything. So I can say that about the things that I've mastered, but there's still a whole nother level to be discovered. And I'm unaware of who I am in those levels. So there's always going to be time and events and obstacles or challenges where I have to show up and prove to myself again I'm mature the way I believe I am. I show up authentically as who I am because, baby, don't be too quick. Don't be too quick to think that you got it figured out because divine will be like, got to figure it out here. Prove to me you got it figured out. But I think I'm able to say what I'm saying with confidence because the relationship that I just got out of, I did not. That person, that person got off so easy when it came to me. Now, I don't know what happened after I left. You know, I don't know. But I do know I didn't respond or react the way I could have. And that, for me, that was a lot. That I was really proud of myself because I didn't know, I hadn't realized how much I've grown until I saw how they were willing to take it to hell and I was just willing to escape. I was just willing to go on with my life and what do you say? Transform. I was willing to transform and just move on. And it was easy. Eh. Who said that? Me. It was easier. It was so much easier than anything else I've done. And it's so strange to say that because I just had the tools, come to think of it. I had the tools to be able to say, you know what? I'm choosing me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pray every day. I'm gonna pray every night. I'm gonna get up and go walk. I'm gonna journal. And I didn't even implement like what I'm implementing now. Like now I'm able to go out and have fun and be around other people and not trauma dump either. You know what I mean? I'm in a good space. I love that for me. And I love, and you just hope that everybody else can find their way as well. But you can't force anyone else, and you can't necessarily hold their hand. They have to make that decision to be able to transition through whatever they think is their failure. And like I said before, when I was really sick and I didn't get to post a video last week, I had to ask myself, like, do you feel like a failure? Like, what do you think you're failing at if you don't post consistently? Like, you need this break. You're sick. You don't feel good. And it's not that you don't feel good. Like, your energy matters in what you do. You have to be top notch energy in order to post whatever you're going to post. And, nobody wants to see you miserable through an hour long video. That's crazy. Nobody's going to do that. Well, I don't think anybody would. You know what I mean? So even if I was going to force myself to get up and film something, it wasn't going to be right. I wasn't going to be in the right energy. But now I was like, you know what? I'm in a good energy. I think even though I have boogies, I have boogies and stuff, right? I'm coughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, excuse me, you guys. But my energy is there. I'm having such a good time. Like yesterday, it was so nice. Yesterday, I went out yesterday. It was so nice today. I went out today. And you would never know that I went through anything. Thank God I don't look like what I've been through, girl. But I would have had I been, in that energy to fight. Had I been in that energy to like go back and forth all the time and everything that that person did, it would just piss me off. But I'm so busy with my life. I'm so busy with everything that's happening. I'm so busy with seeing the blessings and everything that I'm just like, wow, actually, I don't even have time to pay attention to, excuse me. Oh, I wish I could cut this out. This is what I cut out in my videos. But I don't even have time to care. I don't have the luxury to pour my energy into somebody else. It is mine, child. I need it. I need it for the reserves. I need it for every day because I don't have a lot of it. I don't have a lot to give. It's not a waste to me. I'm seeing so much more value in my energy and my attention and what I pay a lot of attention to, right? Like I need that to nurture myself. I need that to love myself. I need to be more self-centered. And so many people, the only people that those words, selfish, self-centered, and all that stuff, really truly affects are the people who overgive, right? So now I'm learning I need to sit down and bring my all my energy to myself, and I need to pour into myself, and I need to do the activities that I want to do. I need to focus on what I want to focus on, and that's it. I'm not paying attention to nobody else. I'm not allowing anybody else into my world. Unless I deem them worthy. And that's the other thing. It's so important for me now to sit back and just observe, see what's going on. And I think a lot of people confuse, especially, with what I've seen online about Aquarius, a lot of people confuse Aquarius like giving their all, which I'm not doing this anymore, which is really interesting. But we will show up in such a good energy. We'll give all, we'll give our love and our attention to people. And I think I saw someone online say it's like we take $100 bill and we leave it on the ground and we just watch to see what you do with it. And that's kind of how it is with our energy. Like we're just showing up in our energy and we're just kind of seeing how you treat us, how you handle us, what you do with it. Do you think that my love and my energy is me being goofy and you can finesse me and you can take advantage of me? Or do you think that you're able to give that back? Like, what are you doing with that energy? Do you think you can use it to throw secret shots? Like, what are you gonna do with my kindness? What are you gonna do with my love? And then I'm gonna watch and see what you do with it. That's very much true. We do that. We tend to do that. But even that, I'm not even acting like an Aquarius, y'all, because I'm not even doing that. I show up, I do what I want to do, and I'm out. Like, I don't even care what you do with the energy. Through the small interactions that I have with you, either I like who I am with you or I don't. Like it has nothing to do with what you do with all of this. No, 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 no. I'm gonna catch it because I like who I am. And I know I don't want to shift who I am unless I'm shifting into a higher version of self, higher self, period. Clock it. But I have to go, you guys, because I have plans for you guys for next weekend. We have a vlog coming in. If you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed the live, better than me, better than me, I'll be outside. You be outside the coat, but that's real though. See, I was about to leave. Look at you. You're not slick. Just about to leave. But I mentioned that before you popped in. There's gonna be a time. There's gonna be a time where you're not gonna need to do that anymore. If you're doing the work. Like if you're not doing the work, you're gonna be like one of the well, I'm not wishing that on you. Clock it. If someone doesn't do the work, they're going to turn into those people who have midlife crisis. They're going to be those type of people who you see embarrassingly dressing way too young, trying to follow the younger trends, and it looks ridiculous on them, trying to go out to the club and do whatever does not truly serve them. Me, I will still catch a vibe, but I'm not looking for the vibe. If the vibe presents itself, I can go, yay or nay. Like, I'm okay with turning things down. Oh, I gotta say this before I go. I said this in a channeling session recently. When I say I'm okay with turning things down, I realize when I have a decent catch or option, because people have been like, I don't even feel, come in closer, come on, we gotta whisper, you guys. Girl, an older version of me would have thought Divine was trying to trick me, but Divine is not trying to trick me. Okay. I think the energy is just shifting for your girl because I have had so many suitors. And when I say suitors, I mean not just any old guy trying to holler, like really good suitors. Like from afar, it's giving 10 out of 10 experience. Okay, it's giving fine, responsible, mature, moolah baby. Like it's giving that, right? And of course, you don't know unless you try it out. But I'm not in the mood to try anything at all. You guys remember tap the live, tap the like too. Um, listen, I'm just envisioning who has approached me, and I'm like, my God. I have come to realize I'm turning people down. I'm not turning everybody down though. FYI, like summer's about to come. I am gonna be dating. I'm gonna be dating. I already know myself. So it's not that I'm closed off and it's not that I'm too picky, but I've realized that in the past, when I've had really good options, somewhere in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I can't pass this up. But lately, I've been passing it up. And it's because I had a revelation. I realized these guys may be good for me today, but if I become the person I really want to be, would that person that I see today be aligned to who I'm going to be? Would I be embarrassed to know that this person is able to say, "Oh yeah, I dated her." Let me throw this out there just real quick. It's just like when Beyonce had that one boyfriend, right? It was like her first boyfriend, I think, and he like cheated on her and did all of this stuff, even though she was actively on the rise, but he could never fathom that she was going to be where she is today, right? It seems like every blue moon, every chance he get, he got to say, "I dated Beyonce." Do I want to give a person that type of satisfaction to be able to say something like that about me? And when I thought about it, the answer would be no. It's really giving no. I don't. So now I'm not turning down because they're not enough today. I'm turning down because one, I'm busy working on my future, right? But I'm also realizing I don't think we will be aligned for where I want to be in the future. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to turn this down, even though this seems like a catch. When I tell you these people are fine, usually you have to give up on something. The person recently, the most, wait, hold on, let me think. Because it wasn't the most recent person. There was another person that was trying to get to know me. But there was a person who was trying to get my attention, and just like the little interaction, I was keeping it cute, but I was definitely giving I wasn't interested. And the way he laughed it off, like as he should, because he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, I wasn't even using my voice because I didn't want to. Like I had already convinced, not even convinced myself. I came to the realization that I didn't want to talk on this particular walk I was taking, right? And when he spoke, I was like, kind of cute. And he was like, "It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" And I was like, and he just laughed it off. And I was like, Jesus Christ, even his laugh was sexy. Jesus. Grown man laugh too. Let me stop. Let me, because I think this is gonna post on my it's gonna post on my page. It's gonna be here for everybody to watch, right? But I was like, oh, the next um wave of potential people, I'm getting back to my roots. I remember when I used to date, I was going through pictures on my Google Photos recently, and I saw some of my exes. I only dated fine okay, and I looked so good with the majority of my exes. I was like, wow. A lot of them don't look like that anymore, though. Even my son's father, like, I looked at the old pictures of me and him, and I was like, that's why we had a baby. But then my son showed me a recent picture of him. I hope don't nobody ever find out who I had a child with, child. But anyways, I will see you guys later. Let me know how you feel about the live. Should I go live more often? You guys are gonna get a vlog next weekend about the adventure that I had yesterday. It was so good, so lovely. And don't forget to like if you found value, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Definitely comment down below if you want me to touch on any other topics. Um, and since I might be doing live, I don't know if these are gonna replace the sit downs. I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. I kind of feel like Divine is taking me in some direction. Who knows? Who knows? We really don't know when it comes to me for real. But it's not my intention to drop my long form sit downs, but I might, who knows, because it's kind of easier to do. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, you guys, because I really value your input. I value what you all say, and I love when you guys give me topics to talk about that I'm so passionate about. And don't be scared, even if the topic is something that you think I might not talk about, I'll still talk about it because everybody is in a different position in their life, and I've lived, baby, I lived. Okay, so I definitely can help you navigate, and give you a glimmer of hope to tune in and connect with your higher self. But until next time, you guys, I will see you later. I love you guys so much. Have a great spring going into summer. Congratulations to all the grads. Shout out to all the mommies out there. And keep going, you guys. You are not failing. You're not a failure. There's strength. There's strength in stumbling. So I'll see you guys later. I don't know how to shut this off though. Hold on, let me see. How do I turn this off? How do I end the live, guys? Ooh, they have games on here? I don't know. Maybe it's the X button.